Okay, if you weren't here for the last couple parts, here's a rundown of all these videos thus far. This is a continuation of a multi-part series about an anime called Slayers, with a girl having a reputation that is credible for better and for worse. Lena Inverse and the Band of Mild Inconveniences has had a couple times of saving the world during their adventures, in which, if I really have to give context to it, here's the part that you're on watching this video. This is the fourth part of the series with this reason. Slayers Try and Next are the stories that happened beforehand in each of this time of before we reached the 2000s, in which I'm reviewing all the movie and OVA. Trust me, it would just be easier if I just lump them all together. These came along during the anime's run and on home video with a couple of them, which these are different parts of the series, executing from the main line of the light novels and even its own sections known as Slayer Special. These movies more or less picked the one character that really had to be censored. By the way, take this as a joke. The actual reason why Naga's actually not in it is only because not knowing how to correctly put her into the light novels, and so that's why we actually have her little sister Amelia. Plus, Naga is actually not in the main line of the light novels, as she has her own little special series that are pretty much just where these are from. So, as these are actually intended to be before Lena's main adventures in the light novel. So, in the most easy way to say it, Naga is not in these books because, one, she's in her own little part of the series, she has her own little radio dramas as well. And plus, after reading a couple of the light novels, holy hell, to be in the anime, more or less. But without ado, let's carry on and actually learn about these movies and what they are. But if you haven't watched the last part, I'll give a quick rundown of everything that's happened in Slayers Try. Being explored all around the outside of the barrier, in which they learned about everything that has happened during the Monster Fallen. With things going more sci-fi than swords and sorcery, Lena and the gang tries to save the world, in which they uncover one of the biggest travesties of the Monster Fall, in which, the day being saved yet again with unlikely circumstances between races of everything. Okay, you got that? Now, take all what I just said there and keep it in a little box, because we're going to be needing that at the end of, because there's only one movie that can actually take place after Slayers Try, as everything else is more or less in the air. It really just depends on where you set your mind into. But without further ado, let's actually start on watching these Slayers movies. With the first one, Slayers the Motion Picture, or Slayers Perfect, coming around the same time as the original Slayers, as popular as the light novels were selling millions, there was a good chance that there would actually be a crowd to get into the theater. Anyway, let's talk about the film. The movie starts with a strange vision of a boy that is calling for Lena before waking up in the starting of their adventure. With being accused of breaking their brother's leg, Lena is already familiar with how bandits roll around here, trying to steal money and even trying to gain sympathy points before doing so. There's a reason why they call her the Bandit Killer, and pretty much just not tolerating their BS. But they come back as well with a individual. This is Naga. Naga the Serpent, or what we will be known as Amelia's sister. Yeah, that is one of the weirdest fun facts that you'll ever find. And even doing the homework, it is kind of funny of how they slide Naga under the rug, especially in the anime. But it looks like they've known each other for quite a long time. And well, that's so in mind that they teamed up and stopping the other bandits just to enjoy the food once again. And well, running out of time, let's talk about the biggest thing about these movies is that on the English side, they really didn't have the original English cast. And I know this is actually like one of the weirder parts about, doing research on this and watching the other OVA that I did that had the same situation. It's only because of distribution rights and the rights by voice actors. To put it in this way, if you want to know the reason why the English dub is so different than the Japanese versions of both of them, is because simply is that American companies just have different rights systems for voice actors, and plus that these were distributed and sold to different studios for it. Yeah, it sounds stupid, but that's the most logical answer out of all of this. So if you're someone that likes Lisa Ortiz, you're not going to be getting Lisa Ortiz voicing Lena. But if you're watching these in Japanese, Megami is still voicing Lena, so take that as a victory. So how does Cynthia Martinez does the voice of Lena?
Wait, these are the bad guys, Don't you have any shame about hiring out to the forces of darkness?
You do you? And are you gonna force me if I say no?
As a total moron? She'll never jump in the same boat with you!
Well, I don't think Lena doesn't sound terribly. If anything, it actually fits her than I think a lot of voice actors would have. Or what a lot of studios would choose for voices. Because yeah,
Make me one of you!
this was not good, Chief. But if you really want to get a specific role out of her, I guess you would say Pony 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 and other small roles in animes that got dubbed into the States. But as they get onto a ship, they're heading off to an island to get some treasure. But as she dozes off, we see that boy once again from the start of the movie, as he's in his own trouble, as waking up as they're in the Mipras Island, in which crooks are trying to steal her money, in which, yeah, they deserve to get whooped right here.
Yeah, whatever. Explosion! Hooray! Fire!
And so as they are on the island, they actually see a little ghoul trying to challenge them forward once again, and we actually can see Naga's power actually, in which, yeah, but with the aftermath, they notice a insignia on a jellyfish and wondering why that particular symbol. This is actually a good excuse for me to actually start talking about Naga, in which I love my purple hair. And to put it in the most current year the way to say this, these two as a duo are some girl bosses. These bitches slay. Okay, I'll escort myself out. I do think when it's actually funny to just see how much Naga gaslights Lena with a lot of things. I think the best way to really describe Naga is she's the best friend that always gaslights you and always gets you to the edge of crashing, but yet you know that they start fibbing, knowing that they're just screwing with you, in which you kind of just start deflecting on their BS. Okay, after that, they beat the magician in the resort after Naga absolutely told them to be phonies with the hot springs, but he admits that he's evil and he has a plan and wants to destroy them, and talks about the strongest on the island and how this will be learning about the villains of this flick of being those jellyfish giving them powers. But as we figured that out, the narrator in the dream is the boy. So keep that in mind yet again. With us continuing, they meet the king for this impression of this down bad MFer, and the king asks Lena to take the task, and of course, being paid. Nonetheless, as she dreams again, we see Lena trap the old man that actually was the narrator. No, not the boy. With Lena being promised a fountain of growth, and if you know her insecurities, you'll see why she actually agrees to help. With venturing into the dungeon, they meet this ugly frog, and well, it's a demon frog named Jorah, but him being a genuine monster and not just some stupid ugly frog. Sadly, with no treasures, they escape, but it was for nothing as the people that were visiting become zombies. This is just Monster Island, bitches. But the demons tormenting them, Lena takes it personal with how the monster is tormenting the people and charges up a dragon slave, defeating the monster. Or, as we thought, with the demon attacking them with a near death with the old man saving them, we soon learn about his descendants with the backstory of their issue. The backstory is how the demons attacked people and ending the girl in the flashback, leaving him alone, eating upon his grief, as the plan is to stop him once and for all, but being teleported back in time. Lena and the boy aid each other in stopping the monsters for what happened before, with Lena using the dragon slave to enhance the sword of light, destroying Jorah.
To deliver them unto the ultimate doom!
But before she goes back into her current time, we see how much that she wanted the Sword of Light even then. But never getting their reward, they've maybe gotten paid, but growth out of the adventure was learned upon this one. Now, mind you, this isn't how it is now, where movies are kind of taken as ways to extend story arcs and give it their own way in which they can be sewn into the canon. I just think back in this time frame, these movies were just made just for the sake of entertainment of just product. There was no cinematic universe or anything, because if it was, then we would have to ask the question about this boy, because this boy is Rowdy Gabriel. And if this was canon, oh boy, there's a lot of things that you would have to justify here. The only way that you would really justify this is that Lena knowing what the Sword of Light is later on. But since she has knowledge of a lot of other MacGuffins, that you really can't say that because, well, for one, she would have probably had this experience and would have probably been reminded of Rowdy with Gowry, but again, take it with a grain of salt. But as they return back to the mainland, Lena actually finds the location of that hot spring and actually learned that it's actually there to make stew now. In which, if you watch until the credits, you actually see a statue of the two characters. Overall, is this a good movie? Like I said, yes, but it's not the best movie out of all of these. Let's get to the next one.
Come on! Give it up, Lena!
The Bondage Queen of Darkness has awoken.
With Slayers the anime being a hit and Slayers Next being the next one on the side, there was 2 side stories of their adventures in since a month difference or Slayer Special, in which these would actually be self-containing episodes adapted from the Slayer Special light novels. So there's your extra credit there. More you know, as these would actually be catered as a way to be prequels to Slayers. And we can actually start with the first part, in which that is the Scary Chimera Plan, in which Lena is actually offered a job by an alchemist named Dilo, in which he's requesting to do this experiment with her, as it's a way for her to make a super chimera, combining her with lesser demons and a sea serpent. And of course, how do you think Lena would react to this?
Absolutely not! Forget it! No way, no!
What?
Of course, turning it down because why would anybody want to do that? Lo and behold, we actually see Naga arrive and actually agreed to do the plan, destroying Dilo's lab in anger. A month later, Lena and Naga are attacked by Naga accidentally getting knocked out.
I can't believe you actually blasted your friend!
Oh, Naga will be just fine.
In which we find out that it's actually the same alchemist that is actually plotting this, in which he's made clones. And Lena being the most self-absorbed person thinking that those clones are actually her, in which it's, oh god, it's another Naga. No. It's not just one copy of Naga, but it's actually 9 of them. And yeah, you could see why Lena would be annoyed by this. Philo then sprints Lena away and is met by Vista, a brigand with a grudge against Lena, who sponsored this whole experiment. They find out that Naga was looking for Lena, in which the Naga souls were sent to console the sorceress. And you would think, it's 9 against 1, or 9 against 2, what would actually happen? Well, the clones actually like their original, so there's 10 Nagas doing that lab again and again.
They lack my supreme sense of self-superiority and extreme overconfidence in myself.
And learning of how bad this is, Dilo returns back to the Vista, where both of them find that Naga and her clones are actually following them and laughing. Listen, I love Naga, but holy hell, this laugh would kill anyone. In which that gets Lena involved, claiming that Dilo actually broke their agreement and took the money all to themselves together. In which they actually catch up and capture Dilo and Vista, and they get their reward money. With the worst of things being that they have to deal with 10 or so Nagas now.
Don't worry your little bitty head about that.
And after that, we get the next episode of Jeffrey's Knighthood, in which Lena and Naga are contacted by Josephine, a woman that is seeking for her girls to make her son a member of the Royal Guard. Okay, I thought that was going to be worse than I thought. Get it, it's an OVA, but no. In which money is money, and they agreed to actually do it. But with Josephine actually being pretty rich and not wanting her baby to be hurt, she's actually hired a couple of royal guards to actually play their part. And to put it like this, the disappointment on their face to see who's Jeffrey. Oh god.
I'm Jeffrey.
Looking like he's never lifted any weights in his life. Jeffrey is skinny, clumsy, and not to mention has a bad habit of being headstrong into battles that he's never going to win. In which Josephine is literally orchestrating everything here. She even comes in masked up and even hits Naga with the mallet because guess what? You're hurting little Jeffrey's feelings. And right, so let's just get the JOB done. But they actually find out that there's actually real bandits here that actually took out the actors, and so...
Oh no, don't tell me that those are the actors Josephine hired.
Oh boy, they're actually gonna have to use some real magic here. But as the story progressed, they're actually asked by Jeffrey to aid him in actually defeating a warlord of a Beastman. In which, yes, Josephine actually contacted this army to do another job. Also, he can get the name of the Flaming Knight. But it turns out the Josephine men were weak.
Are you ready, Flaming Knights? Go!
And if not weak, sorry excuses of men. But yet again, with this being the most easiest job ever, even Gandia insulting Jeffrey, Josephine comes out and even beats him up yet again. So you can kind of see where this whole plot is going. Something happens, Jeffrey's mom gets involved, it turns out to be weaker than you expected. He kind of stops being funny after the second time. Or guess what? Here's the icing on the cake of this episode. As Gandia then leads them to the platoon, they actually see the Arrow Baron of Glottis, in which they actually have to fight a living armor. And let's just put it like this was a whole nothing burger. With the dispelling of everything that has happened, we actually find out that this is actually Jeffrey's father.
What the hell? I'm your nurse, Knight! Oh, Jeffrey? Oh, what are you doing here? Oh, no! Oh, no. If he's here, then that means Josephine's here, too!
You won't lie your way out of this one, sweetheart!
Oh!
Yeah, you can see why I kind of just kept making the same joke over and over, because this was just a nothing burger. And trust me, I get it. Slayers had side episodes where they really didn't have anything worth watching because it was just a side episode. But this was just patterning out in time. I could totally see them taking out that middle part, or at least some of it, where it's actually would be more tolerable for 23 minutes. For 30 minutes, I don't think so. And the next one, Mirror Mirror. For nearly 500 years, there was a magician who was mysteriously hidden and became a legendary item, or a MacGuffin in this case. The professional magician used Society discovered maps and papers related to the Shadow Reflector. But Society's vice president, Lagan, and takes it as a test and uses the shadow copy on our two heroines. In which, yeah, they're kinda horrified of their opposites. With Lena being more agent of chaos, is just submissive. We have 11 Nagas in Society now, so that means that there's a chance, people. But as the surmise that Brigandi's, well, brilliant crafted creation, yeah, as the Shadow Reflector was destroyed, they're not leaving anywhere because guess what? This is not how it's gonna work, brother. With them being defeated and having actually found this one as the icing on the cake, as bad as Jeffrey Kingdom was, I actually did like this one because it did actually feel like an episode that you would actually see in the anime if this ever happened in it. I would actually say that this was actually one of the better. And the other ones where they kind of had the idea and they just said to themselves, well crap, how are we gonna end it? Got him. Slayers return. Next with the second movie is what you expect what this duo would be doing. And to be arguing over dinner, and Naga is just being greedy.
Gotcha!
They get into an argument, but an injured blue lady's asking for their help. And while her village is being attacked by lower demons and now being treated as slaves. But now thinking that it's not the issue, Lena says it's not her issue, so why should they care? But with Naga gaslighting Lena to get their own way, they do it because of the sake of greed. With nightfall, we find out that who's been orchestrating this. This is Zen, and he's a master swordsman. But we also learn what Lena's real intentions is the elfin loot. Well, with the world in need, best ones are always the least selfish ones, right? Well, once they head down there and get trapped, but it's Lena and Naga, so they're always on top of these things. But as the village looks like to be safe, they're forced on to see the giant crystal. And we get to understand why there's a crystal here. And, well, don't know either, but elves said to protect it. And the land will be nourished. You gotta know the rules, never trust elves. And well, Naga being Naga takes the bracelet and it's actually stuck onto her, with this being new because no one has ever wore the bracelet.
What?
God, they act like sisters. We get to see Zen talking about some ruler, and it looks like they won't be done yet. Days passing, they're worried about the next attack, but without the bloom, answering one of the neighbors know where it is. Becker takes them there, and well, it's not a fortress, a shed. And well, being embarrassed, the wizard decides to go for a meteor strike with things going as you think. Sneak attacked and giving him time to actually put the damn move together. It was a wish upon a star. You know, sometimes when the stakes are high, they throw a curveball, but it was all just a bluff for his henchmen to go towards the village. Then, so when Selena's having the balls to step up, as Lena figures out that they won't be there in time, she blasts Naga off to get them aid. See, I'll be honest, I felt like this had to be a dud thus far. And look, it's been anticlimactic to me, personally. We have this bozo, he's just a jobber in a shed. I'm being real when I say this, just no. Just get him out of my face. This dumb Russian accented villain just can't cook, okay? But nonetheless, they go back into the crystal to dig it up to see what's inside of it. The sacred sex is telling you to subscribe? No, but do so. But as the book that Bozo is holding activates, it's the Omnicon, or whatever you pronounce this. But it's a ultimate weapon, it's to the Kanzar. And look, he smashes into hot at the credits, but in all seriousness, the rune absorbs the magic, so it's going to be impossible to get it down. Wait, this page is sticky. Great Bozo, the Slav doomed us all. But thinking for a second, it made the Omnicron, so they'll be rich. It's not that time to figure out, but we also learned that it's actually following Naga because of that bracelet. And due to that, they get to the village, and I didn't expect this part right here. A golem, and this is going to go where you think it's gonna go. And yet again, it's very anticlimactic. But it looks like everyone's helping because what is at stake and where it can go at the end. And so it ends with this. With Lena pulling a dragon slave and Naga holding the windshield out on the golden bug to destroy it. Too bad that they won't get any money out of this. Bozo gets what he deserves for lying, and overall, Slayer's Return being the second theatric release is sort of disappointing to me. The Book of Spells, being a laserdisc on OVA, actually did a better job, in my opinion, of how to really get things to be interesting like that, but yet this one just, I don't know, I just feel like that there was more on the table that you could have done with this, and it just hit itself onto a wall. This one really felt like an expanded episode, if anything. If you would have seen this in the anime, you would have probably said a side episode. But hey, we got more to go. But hey, it's great that this movie's ended. Speaking of great, lady actually promised to use one of them as a model for their next golem. But with him being in a debt for the past few times of making a golem, they found gold right there. Or even like, or if you really need an example that would really fit this instead of in a comedy angle, I guess you would say they're frenemies. A swordsman that we have to worry about. With the king just pretty much knowing his daughter well enough that she doesn't attack until the afternoon, they actually go and take the plan into the morning, and it's actually her MacGuffin and how her and Naga became frenemies. And well, being a petty hag, Naga wants to make a name for herself. Rescue some citizens that got baited into a labyrinth.
That was the only tavern we had in the village.
How do you plan on replacing my tavern?
Nice to make your acquaintance.
As he's the owner of this labyrinth, I'd be cool with this, but no, it's not spooky month. What the hell? So now they gotta find the body of the typical vampire and murder it. But with gold on the mine, they actually figure out a way out to get a jackpot. Anyways, they find him and they actually get to know old magic. Yeah, they're over their head. As the sacrificial lamb, Naga does only escapes him as he transforms into a real vampire. The golden bat. Yeah, all goddamn talk to just be this fox fucker. They would actually find the gold that was in here, in which they're rich. But Naga being Naga erases the arrow. Oh god. And which, anyways, this actually brings a good question. Where does all this lie in the timeline? I know earlier on I did talk about this, but this is actually bringing a good question of all this of being in order in some ways. As I know Try has it, or even Next. It's just that it's the perfect spot for these movies, in my opinion. You can just make the excuse that
Mistress, don't ever touch me without asking!
Oh, that feels so good.
Span likes to be collared and leashed with her. Color me surprised. But as Lena goes and battles the Simps, we actually see Serena and Naga start arguing about their laughter.
It's that your weak, pathetic laugh can never come close to conquering the world.
And it leads into some ignorance. Knowing why this would happen is the worst thing that you can ever imagine. But it ends with
Retribution slap!
Yen. Daddy never laid a finger on me, so I never knew such sensations. You may never compare to me in style or taste, but I think there might be some hope for you after all.
Mistress!
The same I ask, my dear lady.
them all laughing in unison. They all start laughing, and I'm not talking about Lena, because guess what? Lena hates this idea, and Lena is praying that in a world full of multiple Nagas, this would never happen, because God forbid, a nightmare is waiting for Lena if that ever happens.
This really makes me wonder what the world would look like filled with people like Naga.
Okay, it's the final part of the OVA, and Lena's getting paid to do fashion, and well, I'd say dress down for now, because
Presents a complete stylistic failure. A sorceress should have an ordinary robe. Clothing conveys what you do. Sinister crimes using stealth and magic.
yeah, what she said. And that's the only thing left in her fridge, especially just for that experience. But hey, 50 gold is 50 gold. So this girl will be designing her a new outfit to help her out, in which we actually see, oh no.
Oh man, I better clear out of town right now. Who knows what's around the next corner?
You thought 3 Nagas was bad. We have a trend of Nagas. Lena, why did you manifest this? Why did you manifest this? And after getting roasted and put down by Naga,
Now don't say things like that, Marty. You know she is probably second only to me in skill and talent as a sorceress.
Second only to you, Naga.
we kind of see that Lena's down for the cause now to stop this whole trend.
I'll do it happily.
Of course you would.
And plus, the designers actually has a valid reason, because guess what? Destroying her wall. Yeah, so at dusk they get ready to actually fight them in the most Slayers way imaginable. By destroying each other's shops, you thought this was going to be a fashion show? No, we're destroying buildings out here. The girls already have bombs in their building, but the two starts fighting with the fashion mixing and matching, with the two of them battling each other, literally, and of course, equally. Lena gets invested for this and happening with this conflict. They're going full blown with this war. The antics just keep getting higher and higher, and the tower's trying to destroy them. So they equally are playing in there. And holy shit, I thought this was going to be a fashion squabble, but no, it's a war at the Alamo. We just had the Golobors happen, with them ending with levitating the shop and landing on Naga and Sajina. Things get destroyed as the traditional ones won, and that I couldn't bear with the shenanigans and squabble. Pretty much they're all being made to clean this up. But with Naga escaping, Lena actually puppy-eyed her way out of this.
I can't bear it anymore! Ow!
I thought out of all of these, this one was just the stupidest one out of all the OVA episodes, just because of just the whole idea of the fashion show I had in my head, but it was just going to be utter destruction. I had fun with this. I really thought it was a really premier OVA out of all of them, and wait, oh god, did I do it again? Slayer's Premium. Finally, we get to this one. Slayer's Accident. We haven't left anything behind with these two. But Lena getting greedy and the van stopping, we actually see him acting strange because of the octopus.
Flat-chested!
Flat-chested roughly translated means, oh my god in heaven, an octopus!
I may be unemployed, but I can't reach anyone anymore. But this is fine. Well, it's because of the demons enchanted them, and it's because of Lena getting carried away, so they actually have to figure this stuff out. So as soon as more people actually started to get the affected illness, we actually get to see Zelos and to see that there's actually a different crew. I feel you deeply. As Amelia wants an octopus and not to eat alone, we soon figure out that octopus is actually, this is perfect.
Look, is that it?
The velvet pimple hair. Rhyming sniff makes but wrong.
But they actually meet the squid that's actually been doing all this, and it's starting to be the solution of actually Lena figuring out they're cured. As the monster shows that the monsters gain their native tongue back and puts the monster scene active first, I know it.
But you!
Well, this was deserved. Victims, it was fun.
In our way. Deliver doom.
Wait a minute, is that Naga? So many beautiful pieces and so many beautiful screenshots. It does have a special place for B and people that love the franchise, and it's not just because of Naga. If you have to put B in questioning of in the stuff that if this is canon, well, you can, but you can't. Like I said before, and I explained what my theory is, but let's just put it like this. If you read the light novels, the light novel has a lot of other things that do have things that happen that doesn't happen in the anime and in the movies. So if you can always take those with a grain of salt, it's really on how you just really would interpret things. But hey, do you have a favorite movie that I went through? Might as well leave it in the comment section. Personally, mine was The Golems, and excellent, and all the dumb stuff that has happened. Next time, we'll actually go into seeing the game side of the series, in which, with unfamiliar characters and a lot of RPGs to play through, we actually get to see how Slayers interpreted their series in video game form. And no crossovers.